Do you have that situation where you try and run a monthly staff meeting, but you soon forget about it and it turns into the annual meeting? That's called the Christmas party, okay? Do you ever have the problem with staff meetings that they turn into bitch sessions that go on and on and on, and you're looking at your watch saying, beam me out of here? Do you ever have those staff meetings with the drug reps that kind of turn into like hostage meetings where they're supplying the pizza? If you've got any of that going on, stay tuned. This is for you. Everybody, Dr. Joel Parker here with the Standing Ovation Practice. Listen, I spent 17 years in private practice. Most of that is an ownership position, like many of you watching or want to get into ownership. And then I've spent the last 20 years consulting thousands of private practices just like yours, thousands, really. And so what I'm going to do with this series, what I've been doing is like downloading what are the successful actions of taking a practice from a good practice to a great standing ovation practice. Today, we're talking about, as part of the diagnosis, repair, and tune-up, we're talking about the basic organization series, or we're going to focus on communication. Communication is one of those tools that when you don't have it, the practice can be toxic. And one of those practices that you feel like, doing a drive-by. We had one guy that, hated his practice so much from the toxicity and the lack of communication that he would literally drive by the practice down a couple miles down the road and finally go, okay, I got to go, and he'd turn around and come back. It was that bad. Right? So if you got any of that going on, this is the right place for you. But it's super, super important that your team communicates. The purpose of that is to get everybody on the same page, and so that their common, let's call it their common reason why they're showing up, their common experience is well agreed upon, and everybody feels like they're at the right practice, okay? So super, super important. You'll find someone once said that communication was the universal solvent. It lubricates things up. What you'll find is with team members that don't like each other. Like, for example, I've been in many practices where the back doesn't like the front and the front doesn't like the back. Guys, you're on the same team. That's like being on a hockey team where the defense doesn't like the forwards and the forwards don't like the defense. Guys, you're all part of the same team. What that is a sign of, where you've got the friendliness of the practice that's gone out, that's a sign of lack of communication. So let's talk about what you need to do. The first thing you need to do is get your staff meetings in. And these are not staff beatings, they are staff meetings. They're not a time for bitch and complaints. They are a snap and pop discussion of what's going on in the practice in the last week. And in the key performance indicator series that's coming up, you'll understand the importance of tracking your numbers. These numbers are shared with your practice team members, and so that everybody's on the same page and can hatch a plan for the next week of action to keep the practice going. So that's a weekly staff meeting. These are not everybody gets a chance to bitch and complain, okay? I know some of you have had those. I started off with those. These are a snap and pop 20, 30-minute discussion of what needs to go on, and then boom, everybody's off onto the next week. Okay, super, super important. The other one that I've seen work really, really well in practices is a quick snap and pop 5 to 10 minute daily muster. That's first thing in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. Guys gather around. What do we got in the books today? Okay, we've got those surgeries. Mrs. Johnson's coming in, blah, 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 blah. Whatever's going on, that's what you've got going on. That's what's happening that day. And it just kind of gels everybody. You can start off by saying, hey, good morning. Everybody here, everybody well fed, well rested, got your uniforms on, got your socks on the right feet. Okay, you're ready to go. Okay. It's that kind of like just moment where you acknowledge everybody and say, hey, I like being here, guys. You're my team. Let's go. Then there are the kind of yearly parties you can get into. Sometimes I've seen practices that are very troubled and can be toxic. They can be super, super busy. They're churning through a lot of staff turnover and so forth. And all they've really got is that yearly staff meeting, AKA the Christmas party. So the Christmas parties and, even Halloween parties can be fun. Acknowledgement parties can be fun, but they are secondary to the weekly staff meetings and the daily musters. The reason why we go is a little comment here on the weekly staff meetings is that you'd be surprised. Many practices try and do a monthly staff meeting. In my experience, they get one done and then they forget about it. And then it becomes a Christmas party before they get together again. Okay, so the weekly staff meeting is something you literally block, right off in the books. Some of your staff team members may not even be present, but we've discovered this new thing called a Zoom meeting, where you've got a camera on the meeting, and they can log in from home. Or guess what? You can record that Zoom meeting, that staff meeting. They come in the next day and they take 20 minutes to go and listen to what the meeting was. So there's these amazing tools that are available today. Make sure you use them. Okay, guys, so communication, super, super important. Okay, staff meetings, daily musters, and then the parties are great, but the most important one is that weekly staff meeting where you get together. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this, give it a thumbs up down below. Hit that little thumb down there. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notifications, and make sure you tell your friends. Okay, we'd love to have them on board with this. Make sure you write down in the comments if you got any questions, any yay, nays. Even if you say, hey, JP, that's bullshit, I don't agree with that, I'll hear from you. We'll talk to you. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. I'll see you next week.